Peace unto you. Welcome in. Peace unto you. Welcome in. We're going to be speaking about amending with source. Bringing forth amends. If you hear anything in the background about my cousin's house, we got the call. Had this deep meditation, and then first thought that came out was to share with you some of our secrets. Secrets of the universe, things that's going to guide you to becoming the light. Understanding that the way to God, the way to being a light worker, the true path to love, true path to Christ consciousness, forgiveness consciousness, Buddha's consciousness, whatever form of consciousness that one chooses to align with. How you get to it is aligning yourself with a becoming frequency and a integrating frequency. You just can't talk the talk, you have to walk it. So, unlike many new age spiritual teachers, they'll tell you, do this modality, do this technique, breathe this much, hop on one leg and howl at the moon. They'll give you all of these techniques, but the technique itself of anything, that does not give you salvation. Me saying use this mudra or use this mantra, that within itself doesn't give you salvation. You have to become the frequency of that which you seek. If you want to evolve past this place that you call earth, then become that frequency. But it's that consciousness. So what actions are you doing today that are in alignment with an action of an angel, an action of a Yeshua, an action of a master? What actions are you doing? Make it practical. See, in my teachings, I am Nadiie, as you know. In my teachings, it's all about integration. It's all about becoming. Even in my mystery school, click the link in the bio and you'll be able to join in the mystery school. But before you do, DM me 33 and I'll give you our free 3-day course. Because if you aren't willing to implement at least 3 days with God, why are you trying to join the mystery school? But even in my teachings, I tell people, listen, I can give you as many techniques as you can possibly imagine, but you must walk this walk. So we have to practically allow these forms of secrets and mysteries to seep within our lives, our everyday life. People want to be spiritual. People think it's like a fad or something that is like a trend. Being spiritual isn't a trend, it's a way of life. It's not something that you can earn from, it's something that you are. Spirituality isn't a business, it isn't a job, it isn't anything that is transactional. That's what people must always recognize about spirituality or any form of service for that matter. It should never be transactional. So the moment you start aligning yourself with a transactional like spirituality, then that's where you start to fall short and go into the dark side, as they say. Peace unto you, Ray. So to be in the light is to become. So and instead of sitting prayers to source that reflect a mindset of lack, like help me with this, help me with that, help me with this, help me with that, be in a state of humbleness and deny your flesh and allow your spirit to bring itself forth in an apparent sense. So what we mean is, when you pray, don't be in a lack mindset. For example, an ultimate prayer for you would be saying this. And remember, source is God. God is source. The great central sun is the same thing as God. Allah is the same thing as God. Don't get caught up in verbiage, in language, because in truth, language doesn't exist. Do you think a Pleiades being is saying the same form of terminology that you as a human is saying? No, because even on earth, the Asian man says God is different than, the native man. The native man says God is different than the African man. And it just keeps going on and on and on. If it's like that on earth, it's like that in the galaxy. So don't get caught up and egoic about your language, because language absolutely means nothing. Even Sadhguru was talking about, if you just listen to another language, all it really is just random sounds coming at you. And it's based upon your own reactions to those particular sounds that will shape your experience in life as a whole. So you can take that concept and even stretch it into more beyond forms of thinking. But what we bring forth is simplified in its nature. All right, right now we're speaking about applying amends, but you must become. There is no excuse. There's no way you can move around that. So allow this to be your reminder, whether you click on the live or you're just watching it without clicking, whether you scroll past it and you hear something that serves for you. Understand that if at some point you hear these teachings, at some point you hear this light, then you know you're on the correct path. And even saying that, don't even get caught up in what's right or what's wrong or just in anything that's dualistic. In truth, there is no correct or wrong path. We just utilize those words for human transcription to allow certain people to understand that may not understand the terminology of a spirit-based being. So we have to bridge with them. Use your terminology until you're comfortable with the true spirit-based language, light language. So applying amends. I am Nadiie. I have multiple teachings. And from these multiple teachings, one day we meditated and was like, we have to simplify all of this. Similar to Yeshua in his 20s, how he was formulating all his ideologies. And then eventually, late 20s, he was like, all right, my teachings are going to be about forgiveness and love. I can simplify everything that I brought forth by allowing myself to bring forth the awareness of forgiveness and love. Well, in a similar effect, we've summarized all of our teachings, all of our mysteries into 3 primary concepts, and these 3 primary concepts branch off into 2 concepts. So in total, there are 9 forms of wisdom, 9 forms of light. That number, that symbol, 9 is very, very important of who we are. So the first primary concept is applying amends. So that's what we're going to be focused on. We're going to constantly bring this up until I feel enough people has integrated it, because this isn't just some form of mystery that allows you to experience a better life of your own. When you allow this form of consciousness and light to rest within you, and you truly integrate it, allowing this consciousness to be aware within your soul is connecting with oneness. Therefore, since you're one with all things will benefit from your connection to the light. That's why it's extremely important to follow these teachings. Of course, I would say I am Nadiie. These are the teachings that are coming forth from this vessel, but understand that I, as Nadiie of it on my own, did not create these things. These things had already existed. And many masters that aren't of physicality played its hand into making sure that the foundations of these teachings, whether they're in physical form or not, still retain truth, light, love, and source's will. So understand, nothing that we bring forth, anything that we bring forth, whether it's nothing or anything, is of dark. It's always of light. And step 1 in applying amends is first acknowledging where you feel like your life isn't in a acceptable place. If you feel like your life isn't in an acceptable place, you acknowledge it. Even psychology tells us in order to get past any pending problem, you must own it, accept it, acknowledge it at the very least. See what is going on. And I say you can't heal a wound if it's not exposed. You cannot pour ointment on a Band-Aid and think that the ointment is going to go through the Band-Aid. No, it's a surface. You must expose the wound in order to heal the wound, in order to expose the wounds of our life, expose the wounds of our flesh, and, experience these forms of bliss. Because I know everybody, they love bliss. If you want to experience these forms of bliss, well, first it's like, all right, my life on earth hasn't been the greatest. And even beyond that, the fact that I'm even on earth, the fact that I'm even in a form, even in physicality, that says enough. That means on some level, you feel like some form of like spiritual shame. You on some level, because you're on earth, still are giving power to the dream. Because if people were as awakened as they claim, they would just go and poof into heaven. But then you have the people that's like, well, why are these masters still here? And this is where you get into the fundamental concepts of like galactic history. There are some beings that chose to come in the illusion to free other aspects of itself. For we're all one. So, for example, if you right now are able to astral project and reach God's domain and then try to go into the portal of heaven, if you still feel like there are things outside of yourself that aren't a part of you, as most people do when they're fresh out of a life like Earth life, or any vessel that revolves around third dimension and even fourth dimension. When you go into the astral realms from those consciousness, we still experience the external world on some level. From that, we still give power to it. So when we go home, we can't fully go home because we still think there's other beings out here. And if you still believe in dualism and dualistic energies, you're never going to make it home because all is one. So it's imperative for those beings that want to stay in the third and fourth dimension to accept oneness. And there's practically, it does nothing but good. Seeing all things as one, there's nothing that can harm you in doing so. It allows you to bridge with your brothers and sisters. Seeing all as one isn't even of like a spiritual foundation. It's just a truth. See, sometimes people like to even put the word spiritual next to things to try to like make it all juju, but it's just a truth. Because we would say, well, based on all of our information on God thus far, is God everything? And most people will say yes. Anybody in their right mind will say yes, the Creator is more than everything because this is the creation. The Creator can't be the creation because it's the creation. So anything that's from the creation obviously is from a creator. Now, whether you want to say a creator or the creator, it doesn't matter. It's still a creator. It's still a source of energy, the source. So from that understanding, we understand, all right, listen, don't get too caught up within dimensionality. Don't get too caught up in physicality. Don't get too caught up in the dark. Just focus on becoming. Focus on acknowledging your stuff, and on top of acknowledging the things that aren't pretty much servicing your life, acknowledge the things that you do succeed in and excel in. You must own those. If you don't take ownership over even you being able to tie your shoes good, you being able to wash the dishes good, you being able to bring forth a level of outlook like no other, you being able to see beyond just the immediate scenarios that people are experiencing in their day-to-day life, a visionary of some sort, a seer of some sort. If you have that form of capability, then you should be able to own that. And if you do not own that, you'll have a very, very hard life, because it's just going to be a roller coaster, a tug and a pull. Your life is going to be way too complex. And spirituality isn't complex. Things being deep doesn't have to be complex. For Source is simple. Very, very simple. Source is saying, come home. Come home. Because we ask, what do you mean? What do you mean, God? What are you talking about? Come home. Okay. The next forms of statements Source uses is remember. So it's come home and then it's remember. Because we ask questions about what do you mean come home. So now we're in this remembering. So this is where we really start to dive deep into applying amends. Our primary concept number 1. So applying amends involves you owning your stuff, owning the things that you have to let go, and owning the things that you have to retain. You must start to implement a denying system and a accepting system. Remove everything else from your life now. Remove it all. And only allow yourself to have a denial system and an accepting system. Now, there's a key part to this. As a foundation to keep everything balanced, you must align yourself with the will of Source. How do you do this? That ultimate divine statement, A.K.A. prayer we gave y'all. God, A.K.A. Source, guide me to seeing as you see, for I know not sight. Guide me to seeing this scenario in life as you would have me see it, for I know not how to see. Any variation of that is a balance. It's the beyond, will into my body, for the body is not so. God, allow me to be home with you, for right here in this environment is not home for its illusion. That's what those forms of statements brings forth. So allow yourself to bring forth prayers, A.K.A. divine statements, in those natures, in those forms, and that will guide you to a lot more freedom. Because you also have to remember The flesh is what got you here. The flesh is what got you to feeling pain. The flesh is what got you to feeling suffering. The flesh and its brain and its bone and form in itself is what led people to experiencing what they feel like is suffering. So deny your flesh. And by saying that, it's more conscious based. So even people that don't like that have an issue with denying the flesh. Denying the flesh isn't just, oh, I'm just going to abstain from this, and that. That's not denying your flesh. That is just being disciplined. Denying your flesh is a consciousness thing. It's saying like, listen, yes, I'm in the flesh, but am I really? It doesn't have any power. So if anything, I'm just dreaming. If anything, I'm just dreaming, and I'm just trying to wake everybody up from the dream. If you try to keep that level of consciousness within you, saying, yo, flesh smash, it's okay. It's nothing that should require too much power. It's not going to take too much energy. If I cut my hand, okay, that's cool. It's just another form. If, like I remember when I was a kid, like I was playing football with some of the homies, and we wasn't using equipment, obviously, and someone juked us, and for whatever reason, my teammate was running on their side coming towards me, and I was running towards the correct side going towards him. He juked us, we smacked heads, blood's gushing everywhere. I woke up like, wow, that was crazy. But, on to the next day. Who really cares about the flesh? It really has no power. It's the consciousness behind it. And if you allow yourself to allow your freedom to be more apparent in your life, then you will be free. It's really that simple. So own your stuff, the things that work and the things that don't work. You own both of them. You acknowledge both of them. The things that don't work, you put it on the altar of God. What is the altar of God? Essentially, don't even think physical places. Don't even think physical things. Try to get your mind away from descriptions and physicality completely. Even when we say altar, don't think of like of a stand. Just try not to bring your mind to earth. Think beyond. So the altar of God simply it's like a hub of transmutation, like a room full of transmutation, a space that when you go in or whatever you put around it, it instantly transmutes into light. Just if you try to visualize that place, what would that place look like to you? Because remember, God is infinite. There is no one right answer because it's infinite. By definition, there is no one right answer to the life of all things. Because literally, you can't say God is infinite and then say, oh, no, there's only one way. No, when we say the way, the the that we speak of is the infinite way. And so it's actually a light code behind saying I'm the way. Instead of saying I'm the one and only way, no, it's I'm the way, and the way is infinite. So when you follow this path, you become free because you're actually giving yourself more choice. You're actually giving yourself more choice. And it's going to be a natural thing because look, people can give you as many techniques as possible. They can give you as many techniques. You can meditate for as long as you want. You can do every form of technique ever. But remember, that's you doing things. And last time I checked, the ones that recognize that they're the children of light, they don't have to do anything to be the children of light. It's like you know how my skin complexion is seemingly black, as they say? Well, I don't have to do anything to be black. I was born this way. But the same thing for you. You were born that way. You're born as a child of light. That's not something you have to do. That's not something you have to earn. There's no hierarchy in God. It's not something that you say, oh, I've been doing light work for 3 years. I'm much better than the person that just started doing light work for about 2-3 hours. No, that's not how it works. It's either you the light or you not. It either is or it ain't. There ain't no it either is like this or like this or like no. It either is or it's not. Are you for the light or are you not for the light? It's that simple. People like to over complexualize things, but how far is that getting you? And even in this path of becoming, don't even get too caught up in trying to manifest everything. People try to manifest their best desires and all of this, but who's the one that's acting? We really think about manifestation as a whole. We really think about manifestation like masters don't say, I'm going to manifest this. If you ever hear me use that terminology, it's because I understand somebody that I'm speaking to aligns with that terminology. So I must bridge with them until they understand how to speak my light language. But you don't manifest, because to manifest is to acknowledge that you don't have. Well, how can you not have if you're all there is? So that's a fallacy. That's an illusion. So to manifest is to be an illusion. That's why a master named Michael Murdoch would say manifestation is man's infestations, because only the flesh, only physicality is the one that chooses to say, oh, I don't have this, so I got to get it. Oh, I gotta manifest this because I don't got this. You can't manifest something that's already there. So to manifest, you have to first acknowledge that it's not there. That's so then you have the spiritual bypassers that would say, well, affirm that you already have it. Okay, that works. Just to say that. See, if you really want to manifest, if you want to use that terminology, it's not just saying that I have it. It's becoming a frequency first, and then if you want to say it, then you say it. But you don't even have to speak with your mouth, because most masters don't even use their tongue. They use their presence, their existence. My existence is enough. I live a life of abundance and sharing and service. So that's what I shall see. I don't need to speak, oh, God, help me with this, or God, I need $1 million because I gave out, $250. No, that's not how it works. You just become it. And the more you become it, you don't even need to ask for it. Because remember what I told y'all, the moment you make spirituality transactional, it's not spirituality, it's just the matrix. The moment you make spirituality transactional, it's not spirituality. It's literally just the matrix. In the matrix, you deal with transactions. In the matrix, you deal with hierarchy and duality. In the matrix, you deal with currency. Oh, this is valued more than this, and that valued more than that. No, it's either you're gonna do it because you're the light. Last time I checked, I didn't have an angel come to me and say you gotta pay me $100 in order for me to service you. Last time I checked, I didn't hear an angel say, well, you're gonna have to bargain. We're gonna have to bargain. We're gonna have to exchange deals. Last time I checked, that's not how it works. And I just checked just now. So that's not how it works in the realms of spirit. The light is just the light, and the dark is how the dark is. And even the dark, what's so funny? Even the dark don't even deal with transactions, because contrary to popular belief, the dark still has laws and order. That's why some people be like, oh no, I ain't gotta follow no rules, I ain't gotta follow no law, I ain't gotta follow no order. I'm like, yo, even the dark follows laws and order. So you're really bugging. You're really so far off, and nothing that you pray for is ever gonna come to you. Not because anybody's wishing anything bad on you, it's because you don't know the manuscript. You don't know the path. If you're playing chess with somebody else, right? Let's say you're playing chess with a grandmaster, and you don't know how to play chess. And you just, I'm pretty sure everybody knows that the pawn moves like one space or maybe two spaces in the beginning. If you acting like the pawn is the queen, guess what's going to happen? The grandmaster is just going to leave. Yeah, you don't know how to play. That's how these spirit-based beings is going to operate with your prayers and your frequencies that you want to give out. You don't know how to play the game, then I'm leaving. Because the best thing to do, the most loving thing to do sometimes is just walk away. So don't get walked away from. Learn the game. How do you learn the game? Learn divine laws. Learn law and order. Learn balance. Remember these things. Remember, every being, light and dark, has laws and has order. There's things that they will never do. I don't care how heinous or dark a being. You can pull up the most heinous and darkest being, and I will go into the astral realms and show you, yeah, you put up a real dark one. But I found that to even have a realm exist, you need at least 3 divine laws to have a realm exist. A realm doesn't exist if it does not at least have 3 divine laws, because that's what keeps it, in alignment. That's what keeps the foundation. When you start talking about, the 7 lords, you understand that the symbols of a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you understand that it starts in 3. That's why a lot of things are bunched up in 3, the Trinity and this and this. I don't even want to get too much into numerology, because people, look, I can, because I live it. I'm a medicine man, but what you must recognize is the moment we start talking about numerology and sage and all of these cool names and this star system and that star system, people get too caught up in the names and stuff, and people get so caught up in what they don't understand rather than the things that actually benefit their lives. And that's the issue with people with spirituality. Like, I'm a master. And when I was young, I was talking about all the galactic thing. That's why Yeshua, when he was in his late 20s, he was like, I'm done talking about galactic things. I'm going to just talk about love and forgiveness, because I can tell y'all about the Sirius star system for 35 years, but is that actually going to help you benefit your life? No, you just know more about another galaxy. But how is this going to help you right now? That's why I don't really go deep into all the like. Remember what I remember I made a crystal video, like how to use crystals or whatever. It was around the time I had like a streak where I was on fire. I was just making all the videos that everybody wanted to hear. And then I sat back and I looked at all the videos that went trending, and I was like, crystal videos, sage, and I'm like, that's all y'all care about? All y'all care about is how to use sage and crystals and or a cool sex alchemy. That's all y'all care about? Y'all don't care about actually going home? And I was like, I'm not going to make another video about that, because that's not going to help y'all go home. That's just stuff. That's just ego stuff for your brain. That's just ego stroking. Oh, I know how to use this right. I know how to use this right. And it was so interesting to me. I'm just like, wow, that those videos blew up. And if I was, chasing those things, I gave the information so I could easily just keep repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating, but it didn't feel right. Because people just knowing how to use sage doesn't mean nothing, because sage is an external thing and it's a tool. Just knowing how to use crystals doesn't mean nothing, because it's an external thing. It's a tool. It's within you. It's within you. So that's what I teach. That's what I'm saying right now. The primary concept number 1, amending with God, is extremely important. And that's what we're constantly. But I'm not going to just give all the 3 primary teachings at once. No, we're going to go one by one, because this is something you have to live with. This is not like a TV show you say, oh, that sounds cool after you got done watching it. No, this is something that people dedicate their lives for. I've been teaching this for ages upon ages, eons upon eons. Look up how long an eon is. At one point, do you have to realize that another son of the light is here trying to at least give y'all some form of wisdom that is simplified, so you can say, at least I knew. I don't want anybody to, if anybody asks what my intention for my spiritual teachings are, it's for you to go into the realms of spirit and tell God, thank you for telling me. That's what my intention of doing this is. I don't want anybody to go into the realms of spirit and say, but you never told me. If I had known. Because God is going to say, no, per your Akashic records, I sent another son of light, just as Yeshua, just as Buddha, just as any other masters you want to name, named Nadiie. And he went on a live with a little green screen with amending with God. He was going live for over a year straight. You watched his videos and you just thought it was cool. You kept tuning in just to listen to it, but you never applied anything. And then now, about time when everybody's about to transcend, you trying to you trying to turn in everything early. You in the hallways in school, class is about to begin. You out here cheating in the bathroom. No, live it now, so you gotta do that. Live it now, so you ain't gotta cheat in the bathroom and skip school and skip class and do all this extra stuff and make your life harder, because all you're doing is making your life harder. Become the light. So we're making it simple. Own your stuff. Own the things that you don't like about yourself, and own the things that you do like about yourself. I don't care if it's as simple as tying your shoes. You better own it. Because if you don't own the smallest parts, how do you ever expect to own the biggest parts? Because the biggest parts are very hard to own. Some people that don't, own or have a lot of ownership energy within them, they have a lot of insecurities within them. And it's a lot of those insecurities are subconscious. So if I tell you you're God, you have a big issue with it. Not because of religious reasons, it's because you have a pending subconscious insecurity about ownership. So if you practice ownership, I'm good at washing the dishes, I'm good at cooking, I'm good at my hair, I'm good at tying my shoes, I'm good at keeping my skin good, I'm good at this, I'm good at that. That I could work on, I'm going to give that to God. That I also could work on, I'm going to give that to God. This definitely, I don't like that about myself, I'm going to give that to God. You do that. This is called my primary concept number 1, applying amends. You do that. Then, after you do that, it's a settling. It's a settling. Because remember, mending is bridging. You're bridging the spirit and the flesh, and then you're bridging both of that into God. So after you throw all your stuff out that doesn't serve, and retain all the stuff and own all the things that do serve for you, then you start to bridge with God. But you bridge with your spirit and your flesh. So how do you do this? Okay. Step 1, ownership of everything. Step 2, bridging with your spirit and your flesh. Start to figure out what your flesh enjoys. What are the fleshly things I desire? I like to watch TV. I like to get massages. I like to get my hair done. I like to do all that's of the flesh, because your spirit don't have none of that. Recognize we're very grateful for all of the gifts. Thank you for donating. So your flesh doesn't have any of these things, or your spirit doesn't have any of these things. Your flesh does. So recognize what your flesh likes, and then recognize what your spirit likes, and you can find what your spirit likes easier by first doing your flesh. Write it down if you need to, because it might be a lot. Really find out everything your flesh likes, and then when it comes down to you writing, what does my spirit like? You can't write anything that your flesh likes, because your flesh already owned it. So now you're like, okay, well, my spirit likes when I meditate. My spirit likes when I eat healthy. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with not eating healthy, because there's some people that can thrive off of junk food. So those people that are still like spiritually strong eating junk food don't change nothing. Just because I'm vegan don't mean you gotta be vegan. Just because I'm plant-based don't mean you gotta be plant-based. If it's working, it's working. If it's not, that's when you change it. The moment it stops working is the moment you change it. But you write down, my spirit likes this, my spirit likes that, my spirit likes when I take cold showers and warm showers. Whatever your spirit likes, you write that down. What's so simple? What's so simple when you write this list? For 3 days, you don't do anything your flesh likes. For 3 days. You suck it up and you just leave your flesh for 3 days, because now you can't ignore what your flesh likes. You can't ignore it. You wrote it down. You figured it out. You broke the code. You cracked the code. When you do this technique, you're literally going to free yourself from the matrix, as they say. Because remember, the matrix is personalized for each individual. The matrix is personalized for each individual. Your matrix is not the same for that matrix, and that matrix is not the same as this matrix, and Johnny's matrix is not the same as I Am's matrix, and I Am's matrix is not the same as Ray's matrix. They're different people. Their reality is catered to them. So when you write what your flesh likes and you write what your spirit likes, bam, you cracked the code. Now for 3 days, do what your spirit likes and what your spirit likes only. Oh, and so I feel like he's going to say on the 4th day, keep denying the flesh. No. You do what your spirit likes for 3 days for your consciousness to register. Oh, this is what a holy connection with somebody is. Oh, this is what a holy connection with myself is. Oh, this is what holy thoughts are. Oh, this is what a holy life is. You recognize it for 3 days. That's all you need. And then after those 3 days, you bring all of that holiness into the things of the flesh. See, we're not saying, bash and punish and judge the flesh. Judge one, you judge another. Peace unto you. Great aspect yourself. We're not bringing forth judgments upon the flesh. Once you recognize what is holy, when you write down what your flesh likes and what your spirit likes, when you recognize what is holy, you bring all of that holiness that you did for 3 days into, playing the game. If you want to play the game, bring God in the game. If you want to have sex, bring God into sex. Literally call it. Remember, I started telling y'all, stop making your prayers, A.K.A. divine statements, so long. God knows. You can't say God knows all and then be like, well, God don't know this. I got to tell God about today, man. Those people was wilding today, God. You need to get them before I get them. God already knows you crazy. God don't need you to say, yo, God, I'm crazy. God knows that that it knows that you crazy. So you ain't got to be like, no, you ain't got to do all of that. All you got to do is just call on Source. Allow Source to be around you that knows what to do. When you start to give Source instruct, that's like if you're anybody that has been in the military can attest to this. If you tell the sergeant what to do, he gonna look at you like you crazy. I know this cadet did not just tell me what to do. Drop and give me 100. Y'all lucky God ain't like that. Because most people think they know everything. But if you know everything, you wouldn't be asking a higher source for assistance. So all I say is your new divine statements, A.K.A. prayer, should be, Source, I will you in my space now. Pisasuki. The great central sun, shine light on me now. Allah, may your presence be here. God, may your presence be felt here and now. All you need to do is just call it in. As long as you call Source in, you're good. You're good. Do that. And that will light the way. Light the way to the first branch of our primary concept, number 1, which is applying amends. The first branch is forgiveness. When you allow all of these teachings to rest within your consciousness, you tend to forgive more. Don't see forgiveness as transactional either. When you start to see forgiveness as transactional, that's when you're not actually forgiving. That's when you're looking for something. All you're doing is baiting a gift. You're baiting some form of opportunity. You don't bait opportunity. Opportunity presents itself miraculously when you live a life that is in complete alignment with what you seek. So see forgiveness as a consciousness like Christ consciousness, like Buddha consciousness, like Krishna consciousness, like whatever name consciousness. See forgiveness consciousness. It's a state of being. It's not something you have to think. It's not something you have to do. Yes, I may give techniques on forgiveness, but that is for the people that feel like they must value techniques. Remember, as a master, you must bridge. But if it was of my own will, I would tell my people, listen, sit with me for 3 days and let's anchor a state of forgiveness, this being. You don't need to get the paper and forgive 1,000 people, like I said to those people in that one technique. That's because those people, they value techniques, and they feel like of themselves they can't do it. All right, God, I'm dealing with some people that feel like the external world has more power than them. God is like, all right, give them a technique. If you must, give them a technique. But priority number 1 always is lead the children to doing it of their own, on their own, because when they do it that way, they recognize they're never alone. But if the children are acting like, oh, no, the external world has so much power, then that's when we give you a technique. You never start off with a technique. So as a master to a master, when you are sending the light to other people, don't give them a technique first. Give them a way of life. Give them a way of life. And if the way of life is too grand, then give them a technique. Oh, if you meditate this way, this will help. If you do this way, that will help. If you do this, that's when you do that. But when you allow all of this consciousness to rest within you, then you start to allow yourself to be in a state of forgiveness, branch 1 of our primary concept, applying amends. And then from this forgiveness, you remember. That's the second branch. Now, to dive deep into forgiveness just one last time before we head back in our room over here. Of course, we see it not as transactional, but essentially you remind yourself of a blissful existence. Well, what is bliss? You can find out what bliss is by recognizing, is my life bliss right now or not? If your life is not bliss right now, then write down everything that you're doing. And if you get to something in your life that does feel good, put it on another side and be like, this is what feels good. And this might be bliss. You can write bliss with a question mark. It might be bliss. I don't know yet, but I do like that. You go in your life right now. If you feel like your life is not bliss, you write all of these things down. What do you do? Literally, what do you do? What do you eat? How do you wake up? What time do you wake up? What are your routines? What are your first thoughts? What is the first app you go to in your phone? Do you even pick up your phone? Do you get in the shower? Do you brush it? Figure out what you do. If you feel like your life is not in bliss right now, then what are you doing? Because obviously that obviously isn't serving for you. So from that, you write all of that down, you recognize it, and then you just sit down and you say, God, come in. God, may your presence be felt in this space now, in my space now. And then take a deep breath and you try your absolute, I'm not saying you're going to succeed. I'm not saying you're going to fail. I'm saying you try your absolute best. You try until you remove try from your vocabulary. You keep trying and trying and trying and trying until you just start accepting and stepping until you start knowing, and then bam, you're in a state of forgiveness. You're in a state of bliss. I wish I saw you live earlier, but I had to go. Let me know next time, man. Peace, great master. Peace unto you. Well, this is going to be my final message to you all. Take this with you and share it to those that are wise. Do not share it to those that are unwise, because all you're going to do is put yourself in a state of amnesia and you have to reset all of this. Share it to people that actually see service in this. Don't share it to people that you see potential in. Never share something to people that you see potential. Share it to the people that actually are on the path. Allow that potential in them to grow of it on its own. If you trust and know into source enough, if you see potential in somebody, you know in about 2-3 years they're gonna be good. 2-3 months, maybe even a week if they're really on it. Just wait. But for the people that you know is wise, maybe they're just led in the wrong way. Maybe they have a little bit of information, not all. You have some. I don't care if you got to impede on their conversation. I don't care if you just sense them when you're walking. If you see someone that's really wise and you feel it, give them some form of light. Share these teachings with them. Thank you. We love you. So, yeah, if you have any questions, answer them right now because I'm going to leave the live if y'all don't. If you have any questions, answer them now or ask them now and I will answer them. So when affirming on a piece of paper, speak from the soul, not the flesh. Thank you, God. Yes, speak from the soul, not the flesh. We're very grateful to be of service. Yeah, and remember, I always try to make these things practical for you. That's my primary goal. I'm gonna give y'all a little tidbit. I usually do this when there's a few people in here. I'm just like, I'll give y'all some secrets about myself. But I remember I was in like I guess y'all would call it another lifetime, a parallel lifetime. We were speaking about the time of now, this time, because we're in the time of like great evolution as a whole, as a collective consciousness. But we were speaking about this was eons ago, and we was talking about, well, when that time comes, we need some form of practicality, because it's going to get to the point where the veil is going to be so thin, it's basically going to be non-existent. It's going to essentially disappear, that veil. When that happens, we're not going to be able to teach techniques because people are just going to be popping out techniques because the veil is thin. When the veil is thin as it is now and gone, there is no technique that is going to be new to us. You're literally going to, you can make up a technique in your head of spirituality. If you spin around in a circle, hop 3 times, I don't care what your technique is, you can make one up and it will work. That's how powerful God is. Like, wrap your head around that. Did you just tell me as a master, when you walk on this path of light, I can make up a technique? So you're saying if someone has a demon in them, and I seen that they had a demon in them and they needed to get an exorcism, I could just make up a technique, just find some bread, throw some water, do as long as I'm in the light, the technique will work. Yes. That, and if you really see the power in that, you can see how manipulated that can be. That's why the dark is going so hard now, because the dark is like, yo, when the veil is this thin, or when it completely leaves, which it technically has because it never was there to begin with, our own delusions was keeping the veil alive. But because we stopped being delusional and we started seeing through the bullcrap, seeing through the government bullcrap, seeing through the people bullcrap, seeing through the spirit and the flesh bullcrap, the veil just poofed out. When this happens, everybody's gifts and DNA gets activated to the umpteenth power. Now, from this, the people that walk the walk, that are aware, that's when they're able to access it. See, right now, I don't care if you have somebody that's literally low down, woe down in the dark, or just immaterialistic, beliefs or ideologies or practices. If you, with a spirit eye, seen them, they'll be on the same power level as Jesus. Yes, the person that had the strap doing all of this with all of that in the hood, he on the same power level as Jesus right now. Literally, the entire planet is on the same, if not higher, power level than Yeshua. But what's blocking them from accessing that power now is awareness of it. It's literally just that. Remember, enlightenment. Keep this secret with you and share it to those that are wise. Enlightenment simply is a perspective shift. The moment you shift somebody's perspective and they say, I ain't never thought about it like that, that's a perspective shift. When somebody has that, I ain't never thought about it like that, boom, they're enlightened. For that, however long they want to hold on to it. Some people feel that, I ain't never thought about it like that, and become a Sadguru. Other people say, I ain't never thought about it like that. That was deep. However you want to go, how long you want to hold it, however long you want to hold it. All enlightenment is a perspective shift. Keep this true to your heart and share it to those that are wise. You do not need to do this to be enlightened. Yeshua knew. That's why they say Yeshua wasn't enlightened until 33. Yeshua traveled the world. Yeshua, A.K.A. Jesus. Even if that being isn't true in your heart, look at the story, because the story in itself can teach somebody. The story of Yeshua is this, as it pertains to this particular topic. The story of Yeshua is this. You had a man that figured out how to do every single miracle and technique every form of alchemy and everything, and still didn't consider himself enlightened, and still wasn't considered enlightened by others. He was raising the dead. In his 20s, he was doing this. Raising the dead, watering the wine, hella gold, hella food, hella everything, hella followers, and still wasn't enlightened until he had a perspective shift and was like, yo, I'm going all the way home. I don't need any of this. All I need is just to love and forgive. Be in this state. Be in what they call Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness is a combination of love, forgiveness, and acceptance. And from those three things, you get a new form of wisdom. What makes a God is how much it knows. That's it. What makes a God is how much it knows. That's literally it. For example, if you went back 1,000 years, even 500 years, you would be considered a God to those people based on what you know. If we literally prepped you with hella information, was like, hey, all right, cool, you're about to go back in time. These people know absolutely nothing. Try to bring them up to this time. We're going to teach you about science. We're going to teach you about mathematics. We're going to teach you about geometry. We're going to teach you about this. We're going to teach you about this. I said, yep, like 50 times. You always speaking truth. That's why we love you. If we're going to say all of this, right? We're going to give you this information and we're going to send you back in time. We're not going to give you a phone. You don't even need a phone. You don't even need different type of clothes to make you look cool, make you look like a god. You don't need none of that. All you need is wisdom. We'll send you that. We don't even take you 1,000. We can take you 500 years ago. When you go there, they're going to be like, that person knows so much. They got to be a god. And if you say, because remember, most of these gods tell the people where they come from. So you can say, yo, I'm from the light, because that's where you from. I am from the light. I am a son of the light. Son, S-U-N, of the light. The people from 500 years ago are not going to try to correct you. You know too much. You got to be a god. You got to be the son of the light. It's wisdom. And that's what Yeshua recognized. And another thing that Yeshua recognized was when you just look at, if you blank stare, like right now, look away from the phone, everybody. Look away from the phone. Look away from the phone. Stare at a wall. Stare at something else. And just stare. Try not to, keep your eyes wide open, but just allow your eyes to just rest, but keep them open. Don't blink. Just look. Zone out. And that eerie silence will connect you with the entire environment. Just really just zone out, just chill, and just be like, wow. All of this, everything that I'm experiencing, because you experience your environment when you're zoned out, when you're tuned out from this external looking with the eyes of two. When you just look at a wall, look at something, you're just like, wow, I feel everything around me. All of this is my own construction. I had a hand in creating all of this. I gave everything in this environment power. You give something power by giving it description. That's why in my 3-day course, if you are interested in getting my free 3-day course, DM me 33 and I will give it to you for free. In my 3-day course, I tell people to lose descriptions. Stop describing things. When you see a plant, stop calling it a plant. Stop thinking about what a plant means. When you see a couch or a wall, stop calling it what you think it is and stop thinking about what you think you know it is. Just leave it alone. Stop giving everything power. Recognize that the moment I find a way to stop giving all of this power, perspective shift, I'm home. That's what happened to Jesus. Jesus had 2 perspective shifts in his lifetime. 2. Only 2. The first one was when he was doing his carpenter job, hammering, fixing stuff. Ting, ting, ting. I'm the Son of Man. Just that fast. I'm done doing this. I got a mission to walk. He ain't question it. It just put the hammer down. Bet. Thank you. I was waiting for you, God. Literally, like my whole family been talking about I'm on this path, my star system, birthday, and all of this was in alignment. All these preachers and everything saying I'm the GOAT. Yeah, Yeshua was hammering a piece of wood, hammering a nail in the wood, trying to fix somebody's couch as a carpenter. And then he just heard that voice, put the hammer down. Bet. I was just waiting to leave. I quit a job the same day, became a light worker. That was his first perspective shit. That was his first enlightenment. The first enlightenment is God putting the glasses on. The second enlightenment is God saying, open your eyes. Because some people, they walk the path. They walk the path just enough to where God puts the glasses on. But they still got their eyes shut because they're scared to open their eyes, because they're scared of what's behind the veil. I don't want to see though. I don't want to know the truth. I don't want to open my eyes. When you successfully open your eyes, when you have everybody in this live has God's glasses on. But can you honestly say that you've opened your eyes while those glasses are on? Because the moment you open your eyes, you'll see, you'll have that perspective shift. Like, yes, well, yo, all of this has been in my mind. This entire life is just a thought. I got to stop giving it so much power. I'm going to stop doing that miracle. I'm going to stop doing that miracle. I'm going to make everything simple. Yes, well, can you make us some more gold? No. May my presence, remember in the stories he was saying, may my presence be enough? He was saying that because that's when he was starting to, that's when he had that perspective enlightenment shift. He was like, yo, how many miracles do I have to do before you recognize that the external world is not so? Because the external world said this is not supposed to be. How many miracles do I have to do? Matter of fact, I'm going to stop doing them, and I'm going to just say my presence is enough, because my presence really is enough. Yeshua started to live by presence when he had the second enlightenment shift. So now my parting message to all of you is this. If you're watching this live, or if you're even on the path of spirituality, even a little bit, you successfully put God's glasses on. Bravo. You get poetic snaps all day. But while those glasses are on, can you honestly say that you've opened your eyes? Are your eyes closed while you have those glasses on? Or are you actually seeing? Peace.